to give back something to kids.
Round championship was the feared Swartland Rally, contested on public gravel roads that traversed high-speed, sweeping gravel mountain passes with fearsome drops and stunning scenery. Toyota's Johnny Gemmell and Volkswagen's Enzo Kuhn arrived at the Osram tied on 88 championship points each. So the Osram had all the makings of another epic battle between these two arch rivals. Unfortunately for Gemmell, the fight never materialized. The championship contender was feeling ill and, to make matters even worse, picked up a puncture early on and suffered from a power-sapping misfire, all of which conspired against him to relegate him to a 5th place. Jan Habig was reunited with long-time navigator Douglas Judd. The pair needed no time to get reacquainted and finished 4th, just a few seconds behind the charging Zimbabwean Conrad Rautenbach and his flying Ford Fiesta. Double champion Hergen Fecken found his form again to end the tough Osram Rally in 2nd position. His first finish in 4 events, the glory belonged to Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson, who recorded their 2nd victory of the season. To be crowned King of the Mountains is an honor, but even more importantly for Kuhn, the victory places him in the pound seats for the remainder of the championship. Gemmell's misfortune and Kuhn's brilliant mountain victory sees a 9-point swing at the top of the championship leaderboard. With a total of 50 points still up for grabs, both Jan Habig and Conrad Rautenbach are still in with a chance, albeit a slim and mathematical one. No less than 6 events have come and gone, and now only 2 rounds remain. SA's gravel road aces have reached the final stretch, the stretch that will also decide where the coveted crown of Sasol's South African Rally champion will go. The Western Cape will once again play host to the penultimate battle as rallying returns to the Swartland. The Swartland Rally is a real gem and a real favourite for both drivers and spectators, as it is arguably the most scenic event on the entire Sasol South African Rally Championship calendar. The green and yellow wheat and canola fields, together with the mountains in the background, provide a perfect backdrop for an epic battle on the farmlands around the Western Cape towns of Malmesbury and Moorreesburg. But the farmlands will have to wait for Saturday, as day 1 action will be much closer to home for thousands of Capetonians. Friday stages are all run at or close to the famous Killarney racing circuit, and with a mix of both gravel and tarmac on the menu, teams will have to be at their very best right from the word go. With only a 9-point championship lead, Enzo Kuhn can't afford a mistake on this event, but he doesn't have to win it either.
I think we're in a good position. We have to finish the event and we have to do well. We've had a good car, we're having a good year, so I think we want to continue like that.
There are still 50 points available, but the difference between a 1st and 2nd place finish is only 4 points. Johnny Gemmell has no choice but to go for the win and hope for the best.
You know, it's still a long way to go. Whole event, 200 kilometers plus, and still the next event. So, you know, we've got to go as hard as we can and see what happens.
Jan Habig's regular 2010 navigator Ralph Pitchford is away preparing for the Dakar Rally. So long-time navigator Douglas Judd returns for yet another outing with a 6 times champion.
Yeah, you know, Douglas slotted right into his old position, and we've always worked well together, and I'm sure we'll do it again on this event.
Although every event on South African soil is new to Conrad Rautenbach, he is still 4th on the points log. But points are not what the young Zimbabwean is after.
Yeah, we're 4th in the championship, not where we want to be really, so we're just going to go out there and go flat out and give it horns and see what we can do.
The biggest news to hit the service park is that Toyota stalwart Mark Cronje will not contest the remaining rounds in this year's championship. Cronje is taking a sabbatical from the sport, and it will be sad not to see him in action here in Swartland, especially considering that he won this event in 2009. Even bigger news is that Cronje's seat in the factory Castrol Toyota Auris will be filled by newly crowned Class A6 champion Leroy Poulter. At the age of 29, Poulter has already enjoyed a long and successful career in most forms of motorsport, but will now face his toughest challenge yet, as the gifted youngster makes the jump from a Class A6 two-wheel drive car to the top-flight S2000 machine.
I think this step though is going to be a tough one. You know, we've done a couple of mileage laps in the car, but I don't know what to expect. You know, we're going to go to it and just get through this event.
Double and defending champion Hergen Fecken won his first title here in Cape Town in 2008, but sadly for the Pretoria driver, 2010 will not yield the same result.
Yeah, look, we've had a difficult year this year, so I think basically on this event we just need to maybe apply a bit of pressure on the Toyota camp and try and get Enzo to win the championship on this event.
Cape Town favourite Jean-Pierre Damso has won this event before and will have his sights set on another good result. Charles Wilkin is probably the unluckiest driver this year, with only one finish to his name, but the tarmac stages could be what he needs to turn his fortunes around.
The car's good. Hopefully we can get some more mileage and get all the bad luck behind us and get the year back on track and have some better luck.
Hein Latergan is also a former circuit racer, so he should look forward to driving on tar.
Yeah, funny enough, I think I definitely prefer dirt nowadays. I think it's getting a bit rusty. It was almost 15 years ago, you know. But I mean, obviously you never forget it all.
The top 10 on a Sasol National Rally is becoming a crowded place. Latergan will be backed up by Pertic Toyota teammate Visser Du Plessis, while Team Total will field a further 2 S2000s in the hands of Cape Townian Fernando Roida and Tanin businessman Mohamed Musa. Jaapie van Niekerk has so far not managed to translate good speed into good results and is overdue a change of luck soon, while Volkswagen will field a string of privateers in the top S2000 class. Mokopane businessman Thien Subad will come face-to-face with fellow polo drivers Evan Hutchison and Nicholas Ryan, and Namibian Jaco van Dijk returns after a heavy crash on the previous round. Stage 1 is just off the N7, and at only 5.5 kilometers, it provides the perfect opportunity for the teams to ease into the action. Expect the times to be fairly close, as it is extremely difficult to catch the opposition off guard and to open up a sizable gap in such a short stage. As most of day 1 is contested on tar, road position is not important. Enzo Kuhn will therefore have no problem with being the first car on the road, as he's flagged away from the Killarney start. But immediate drama for the championship leaders.
Doesn't start.
They're going to start within the next minute or two.
Now we got to push.
This could mean the end before the rally has even started. Or even worse, if the polo doesn't fire up in the next minute or two, Kuhn could be kissing the championship goodbye. They had no option but to push the polo clear from the control area, and then realized that assistance from other competitors is allowed, and the championship leaders were off. No such problems for BP Volkswagen teammates Hergen Fecken and Jan Habig. The Ford Fiesta of Conrad Rotenbach starts 4th, ahead of the first Toyota driven by Johnny Gemmell, and the next Fiesta in the hands of Charles Wilkin.
2, 1, go. 950. No, cut is flat right through the gate. 50, left 1 continues into right 1.
2010 Swartland Rally action gets underway with Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson. The BP Ultimate Polo driver completes the short first stage in just 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
8 here, into rock, stay mid, is the right 6, open, to right 5, 80 up, left 2 over the crest. Left 2 is the crest, right 3 narrow down, into left 2 here.
I was getting used to it. We had to find our way there. It was a bit difficult to read the road, but we got through it clean. We're not in too much of a big hurry today.
Defending champions Hergen Fecken and Pierre Arries are next to blast through the short spectator line stage. The time to beat is 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Over small crest, right 3, into dip, easy jump, right 2, left 8.
Fecken crosses the flying finish in a time of 3 minutes and 11 seconds, a full 4 seconds faster than Kuhn.
No, it was quite an adrenaline rush. It's very tight here at the top and it's actually quite thick. And that was fun.
Third in the championship, the third car on the road, and the third of the BP Ultimate Polos to tackle stage 1. 3 minutes and 14.9 seconds for Jan Habig and Douglas Judd. It's very close this early on. The first of the Ford Fiestas, Conrad Rotenbach and Peter Marsh adopted an all-or-nothing approach for this event and it starts well with a time of 3 minutes and 14.2 seconds.
Right, plus in over brow into tunnel, into big crest is turned to left and cut long 3 right plus 100 up. Brow is...
This is the moment that rally fans were waiting for. The much anticipated fight between championship contenders Keane and Johnny Gemmell is now underway as Gemmell and Scottish navigator Drew Starrock rocket into stage 1 behind the wheel of the Castrol Toyota Auris. Gemmell was immediately on the pace, but unaware that danger was lurking around the next corner.
Medium left, sorry, 17. To pass right.
This could mean trouble early on.
80.
Yeah, we just gotta hit some rocks there in the road there. Yeah, the alignment's not too good, but we'll see now what happens.
A time of 3 minutes and 12 seconds is still second fastest on the stage, but a severely bent steering arm could mean the end of Gemmell's championship unless he can fix it in time. What drama to start the event. Keane almost didn't start at all, and Gemmell only has a few minutes to save the situation, or the championship could be settled on the side of the road. The time is ticking away as Gemmell desperately uses every means possible, and somehow, a few minutes later, the Auris is on its way to stage 2 with only a 10-second penalty incurred for arriving late. The championship is still alive. The Basil Reed Bizub Ford Fiesta team of Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich is desperate for a good result late in a year that has promised so much but delivered only bad luck, and starts off well by setting a time of 3 minutes and 12.8 seconds, the third fastest of all.
Left 9. Okay, do not cut anything. We've been warned. Do not cut. Right 8. 80. Very adverse left. They try and go wide.
Times are always close on a short stage like this one, as the Pertec Toyota Auris of Hein Lategan and Johan van der Merwe records a time of 3 minutes and 13.8 seconds. It's less than 3 seconds slower than the stage-winning time, but only good enough for 6th position.
Yeah, we hit somewhere at the rock, I think, in the grass at the back. Took a huge bump. Up it's right.
JP Damso is a hometown hero in Cape Town. In fact, the local driver's only ever overall rally victory was here just 2 years ago. And together with Caroline Swan, the Total Evolution Toyota Runx set the 4th fastest time on stage 1.
No, it was a tricky first one just to get into it. We got not 2 tarmac stages, so it's what happened.
The C-Track New Africa Developments Toyota Auris of Japie van Niekerk and Robin Houghton is the next car into stage 1. Van Niekerk is desperate to change his luck around, but started with a time just outside the top 10. The second Pertec Toyota Auris has displayed a good burst of speed in recent times, and it continues for Visser du Plessis and Gerard Snyman, who sets the 7th fastest time, in spite of also hitting Gemmell's rock.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only guy who came out with a flat wheel.
Mohamed Musa and Grant Martin start their first ever Swartland Rally behind the wheel of the S2000 Total Evolution Toyota Runx with the 10th fastest time, less than 5 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, there's a really bad bump just on the end, and we got it in the notes, but it's much worse than what we expect.
But more importantly for Musa, he was ahead of the chasing pack consisting of the Motorride Polo of Evan Hutchison and Alvin Coetzee, the Salom Group Polo of Thien Joubert and Carl Beskin, the recently rebuilt Polo of Jaco van Dijk and Les de Fortier, and the Total Evolution Toyota Runx of Fernando Rueda and Kobus Frey. This is one of the most anticipated moments of the entire championship, the debut of Leroy Poulter behind the wheel of the second factory Castrol Toyota Auris. As it is his first ever start in S2000, Poulter is the last of the S2000 machines to take on stage 1. With 11 seconds lost, it was a slow start for Poulter and Robert Paisley.
No, terrible. They just made too many mistakes. I think we've just got to settle down a little bit.
Less than 5 seconds stand between 1st and 10th positions on the leaderboard. Arkan Fecken is exactly where he wants to be. And with Enzo Kuhn in 9th, so is Johnny Gemmell. But Gimmel's slender advantage over Kuhn can be short-lived, as his Toyota is still somewhat damaged. A good start also for the Ford of Charles Wilkin, who occupies third. After the break, Swartland Rally action moves to the famous Killarney racing circuit for a tarmac showdown in front of thousands of fanatic rally fans. Will Gemmel's roadside repairs last? Will Kuhn stamp his authority on the championship, or will a third party steal here? The famous Swartland Rally, the penultimate round of the 2010 Sasol South African Rally Championship. Over the years, the Swartland Rally has settled many championships, but with only one short gravel stage under the belt, it's still early days and too early to make any predictions. One thing you can bet your life on is that nothing is a given in the unpredictable sport of rallying. The championship showdown between Enzo Kuhn and Johnny Gemmel is yet to take shape, but it almost didn't happen at all.
Very nervous start this morning. We got into the vehicle out of the holding area for the start of the rally and it wouldn't start, so our heart stopped there. We had to jump out, push the car. It seems that the battery ran flat. Maybe one of the appliances inside the vehicle was on the heater screen or something, so thankfully it recharged. We were back on speed and we were very nervous through the first stage because, of course, if you stall the car, it wouldn't restart, but we're feeling better now.
Gemmel's trouble started a little later, when he hit a rock near the end of stage one, an event that was followed by a tense few minutes on the side of the road.
We got out of that stage, our time was all right, then we got onto the main road, stopped and tried to repair it with a rock. Managed to repair it all right and set the alignment roughly.
The country's top rally drivers will have to swap their gravel driving skills for finesse on the tarmac, as Stage 2, or Bavaria Air 1, is a complicated route that takes in most of the black stuff in and around the Killarney racing circuit. The stands are packed for the spectacle that will see a number of cars on the track at the same time.
1, go.
The roar of the 2-litre high-revving engine under the bonnet of the BP Ultimate Polo of Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson breaks the silence as they fly into stage 2. Kuhn is an experienced driver and used every bit of his experience to record a time of 5 minutes and 33.4 seconds.
Maybe wide, go wide. Okay, and the right.
Yeah, we pushed a bit harder there. They changed the stage from when we walked it this morning slightly. They put some extra bunting, so that confused us a bit, but we had a good stage.
Tarmac is not Hergenvecken's favourite surface, but the defending champion has still put in a valiant effort for a 5 minutes and 37.7 seconds, more than 4 seconds slower than his teammate.
Straight on between Boulding on left and on go.
Yeah, it's slippery, and you know, you're on the gravel, then you're on tar, then you're on gravel, so it's quite difficult to know exactly where you are.
The tarmac was now painted green with no less than 3 BP Ultimate Polos on the track at the same time. Jan Habig and Douglas Judd manhandled the Polo around Killarney, but a time of 5 minutes and 39 seconds was nearly 6 seconds off the winning pace.
And 90 right, right left.
Zimbabweans Conrad Rotenbach and Peter Marsh had made it very clear that they are no fans of tar. That, together with his lack of previous experience of the Killarney racing circuit, showed, and the talented youngster gave away 13 full seconds. Johnny Gemmel and Drew Starrock were still uncertain if the earlier roadside repairs to the damaged steering arm would last. Thankfully for the Cashel Toyota team, it did, but Gemmel lost a further 7 seconds to the leaders. So far in 2010, Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich had very few opportunities to make their mark, but it was all about to change. The Basil Reed Bizub Ford Fiesta driver is a multiple track racing champion. In fact, Wilkin won the last ever 9-hour endurance race held at Killarney, and it showed as his time of 5 minutes and 33.5 seconds was just 1/10 of a second slower than Kuhn's stage-winning time. But more importantly for Wilkin, it was fast enough to take the overall rally lead.
And right, and right in here, right, and left onto track. Okay, you're on your own until that left.
Hein Latergan is also a former circuit racer. The Pertec Toyota Auris set a 6th fastest time on stage 2, enough to maintain his 5th place on the overall leaderboard. JP Damso and Callan Swan are the next ones onto the Killarney track. Damso has a smooth driving style, exactly what you need for fast times on tarmac. And the Total Evolution Runix set the 4th fastest time of all. From 9th on the road, Japie van Niekerk and Robin Houghton still had their sights set on a decent finish. Stage 2 has been the pairing's nemesis for most of the season, but this time the C-Track New Africa Development's Toyota Auris survived it without any incident. Evan Hutchison is a multiple off-road racing champion, but the Motorride Polo driver acquitted himself well on the black stuff to record the 8th fastest time. It was also good enough for 8th on the overall leaderboard. The battle for privateer honours is a close one, with only 0.2 seconds separating the Motorride Polo from the RCF Johnsway version of Nicholas Ryan and Armand de Tooy. At the back of the S2000 field, it was no surprise that newcomer Leroy Poulter would use this stage to make his mark at the top level of rallying. Poulter already had a moment in stage 1, but the new Castrol Toyota factory driver knows a thing or two about tarmac and racing circuits and set the 3rd fastest time of all to rocket him to 7th on the overall leaderboard.
Charles Wilkin takes over the top spot of the leaderboard for the first time since moving in behind the seat of his Basil Reed Bizub Ford Fiesta. But the lead is only 2.1 and 2.4 seconds over Kuhn and Fecken respectively. JP Damso is the first Toyota, while Leroy Poulter climbs up to 7th. Rotenbach and Ryan complete the top 10. It might have only been 2 stages, but a lot has happened already, and the crews and their cars were in desperate need of a break. Castrol Toyota driver Leroy Poulter had a nervous start to his S2000 career.
Yeah, look, I think one to not remember, the first going down off the first stage, I think we just came up at the first corner faster than what I thought, and when I got on the brakes we just lost the rear, and the car stalled and got stuck there.
With the majority of the Swartland Rally still to come, it is too early to get excited, but Charles Wilkin was leading the pack nonetheless.
Things are going well at this stage, but it was only a short gravel and short tar, so it's just the beginning. The rally is tomorrow, so we'll see who wants to be first on the road for tomorrow.
With only 3 stages on the cards, day 1 of the Swartland Rally is a relatively short affair. Stage 3 takes in a slightly different route of the racetrack when compared to Stage 2, but with 2 more significant differences. Night is falling over Cape Town, and with just 1 minute starting intervals as opposed to the normal 2, Stage 3 had all the makings of an epic one, even at only 14 kilometers.
The sound of numerous S2000 engines filled the Killarney night sky as fans were treated to some spectacular racing. The Castrol Toyota Auris of Johnny Gemmell and Drew Sturrock was back up to speed, and Gemmell only had 1 goal, and that was to beat Enzo Keen. On stage 3, he did, only by 4 seconds, but kept him within striking distance. Bergen Fecken is a double champion, but is a 6 times champion. And although these two are BP Ultimate teammates, you don't become a champion by being kind to your teammates. This isn't Formula 1 either, so neither Habig nor Fecken were willing to give an inch. Habig and Judd beat Fecken and Aries by 1.7 seconds to move to within 4 seconds of Fecken's current 3rd position, setting the tone for what's to come on day 2. JP Damso and Callan Swan were now having their best outing since Damso won this event 2 years ago. The son of legendary driver Serge Damso beat Habig's time by a full second, good enough in 2nd position overall. But it was Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich who once again cemented their position as the masters of the sealed surface. Wilkin has finished only 1 event this year, but has won almost every stage on tarmac, and stage 3 of the Swartland Rally was no different. The Basil Reed Bizub Ford Fiesta blitzed the field to take the win by a full 8.3 seconds, a performance that increased his lead at the top of the leaderboard to a full 12.8 seconds at the end of day 1.
Go now.
Charles Wilkin leads the Swartland Rally by a handy 12.8 seconds from JP Damso, with a Volkswagen trio of Fecken, Habig and Kuhn in hot pursuit. Hein Latergan leads the Castrol Toyotas of Poulter and Gemmell, while Rotenbach in 10th has some catching up to do. With 16 out of the 17 S2000 machines still running, The rest of the field was fighting for 17th place on the overall leaderboard on the first day of the Swartland Rally.
After Friday's running, the Nathan Motors Mitsubishi Lancer of Mike Nathan and former top flight rally driver Ian Lawrence was the best of the rest. Nathan only competes in selected events, but as a Cape Townian, he had no choice but to enter the Swartland Rally. Class A7 for modified front-wheel drive racing machines sadly only saw the two entries of Gugu Zulu and Cindy Harding in a BP Ultimate Polo, and the similar Easy Life Kitchens machine of track racing star Gavin Cronje and Henry Dearlow. Cronje drew first blood by beating Zulu with a margin of 6 seconds on stage 1, but his joy was short-lived. Cronje also hit the by now infamous Johnny Gemmell rock at the end of stage 1. The suspension could not take the punishment, robbing Cronje of any chance of victory. Soon after, Class A7 self-destructed when the engine under the bonnet of Zulu's Polo overheated, leaving no finishers in the class. The Class A6 Championship for 1600cc front-wheel drive machines has already been wrapped up by Leroy Poulter on the previous round. Poulter has now moved up to S2000, but as the class lost one champion, it gained another in the form of Cape Town-based youngster Ashley Hake-Smith and navigator Hilton Orfley. Hake-Smith is the current Class A5 champion, and with nothing more to drive for in the lower class, he used the opportunity to drive a more powerful Class A6 Team React Toyota Corolla. It was a great start for the youngsters. He set the fastest times on 2 of the day's 3 stages. But youth and talent got trumped by experience. Class veteran and former champion Craig Trott and Robbie Coetzee had the upper hand by completing 3 faultless stages in the Total Evolution Toyota Runnix to lead the class by 18 seconds. Entry-level Class A5 received a major injection with no less than 2 new entries. The brand new Volkswagen Polo Vivo made its rallying debut with regular class competitors Morne Janse van Rensburg and Derek Jacobs behind the wheel, and completed day 1 with the class lead. It was a slender lead of just 2.1 seconds over the aging Toyota Taz driven by Dolph Coetzee and Jacques Nel, who competed in their first national rally in quite some time. More exciting news was the debut of Henk Latergan and Rikus Fourie in a Pertec Toyota Taz. Henk is the son of top flight rally driver Hein Latergan.
Obviously, you're still a father and you worry about the kids, but he's got a good team looking after him. I think he will do well.
Latergan Jr. is only 16 years old and survived the first day of his first ever national rally to finish the day 3rd in class, around 27 seconds behind the class leaders. In Class N3 for near-standard production cars with engines up to 2 litres, it was once again the sister and brother combination of Megan and Oliver Verloc who set the pace in their Toyota Runnix. Fellow lady driver Stefanie Hugo with dad Willem in the hot seat was forced to retire her Wheel Magazine Runnix after the tar stages, leaving Cape Town locals Abdu Rahman Amle and Yusuf Hanif in a similar machine as the only ones with a chance of challenging the Verloc siblings.
A short but exciting first day of the Swartland Rally comes to an end, leaving the 25 remaining teams with time to reflect on their performances of day 1. 3 stages have been completed, but the real rally starts tomorrow. 150 kilometers of gravel road action still remain. 2010 Swartland Rally, the final day of the penultimate round of the 2010 Sasol South African Rally Championship. It's also the day that could play a huge role in the outcome of this year's championship, as the battle between Volkswagen and Toyota, and more specifically between Enzo Kuhn and Johnny Gemmell, rages on. Kuhn and Gemmell may be the ones fighting for the championship, but it's the Basil Reed Bizub Ford of Charles Wilkin who leads the rally.
It's going to be tough running first on the road. I think there's going to be a lot of sweeping to be done, and you know, I won't be able to see where the guys behind me cut, and there's a lot of time to be made on the cut. So
seeing his name near the top of the leaderboard must be a good feeling for JP Damso, who also hasn't enjoyed the best of season so far.
Today's the day that counts, and I'm sure the big guns will be going for it today.
While Wilkin and Damso will try their very best to stay at the top, Enzo Kuhn will keep his eyes on championship rival Gemmell.
We'll start today really finding a pace that we're comfortable at. I think it'll be difficult to find that pace at first, but we'll dig for it.
Johnny Gemmell hasn't had the best of starts to this event, but Kuhn is only a few seconds ahead, so the championship is still very much alive.
We've got to get in front of him today, that's the plan, and he's, I think, 11 seconds ahead of us, so there's 4 stages to go, so we still got plenty of miles to catch up.
This is the famous Swartland, the area that lends its name to the rally. Today is make or break, as the teams will head out to Malmesbury and Moorreesburg to tackle 4 long and challenging stages in the farmlands and wheat fields. These stages are pretty to look at from a spectator's point of view, but the experience from inside the car is something totally different, as TV weatherman Derek van Dam can testify to after being strapped in for a roller coaster ride the day before.
You know, when you're in the navigator's seat, you got that tunnel vision. But I got a whole new respect for the navigator because he's so crucial in navigating that guy to take a hairpin turn or doing that. And I started to learn some of the lingo. It's interesting. Fascinating stuff, man.
Day 2 action will get underway with Oatcake, a 26-kilometre test of bravery and driving skills just outside Malmesbury. Stage 4 combines a number of really fast sections with tricky water crossings and farmyards. These stages are fairly open, something that tempts the drivers to push harder and go faster, often with disastrous consequences.
Leading a rally almost always sounds like a good idea, but leading going into day 2 does have a serious downside. The dreaded concept of sweeping the roads. On day 2, this task was the responsibility of Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich and the Basil Reed Bizzup Ford Fiesta. As the surface changes continuously, every corner is an experiment, while he would leave some indication of what to expect for those to follow. Wilkin would therefore lose a considerable amount of time, but how much?
Very loose, I battled there quite a bit and difficult to judge the braking and so on, so I don't think that was very good.
Wilkin's time over the nearly 27 kilometers was 14 minutes and 9.1 seconds. Second on the road isn't much better for JP Damser and Callan Swan. The Total Evolution Runx reached the end of stage 4 in a time of 14 minutes and 10.1 seconds, 1 second slower than Wilkin. Everyone knew that the times would start to tumble soon, and tumble they did. Hergen Fecken and Pierre Arries were the next ones on the road. Fecken extracted every little bit of power out of the BP Ultimate Polo and crossed the finish in 13 minutes and 58 seconds, 10 seconds faster than the time set by Wilkin.
Sudden grid, turn off right 7, do not miss, into bump.
It was now a matter of how deep into the rabbit hole one could go. Enter Jan Habig and Douglas Judd in the second BP Ultimate Polo. Habig is a master in these conditions and used every bit of experience, and he's got plenty, to his advantage. 13 minutes and 50 seconds. That's another 8 seconds shaved off from the fastest time.
Keep tight, right inside. Straight on, keep right, keep right.
Surely this madness could not continue, but somehow it did. Enzo Keane and Guy Hodgson simply need to keep their championship rival Gemmell behind them. But Keane is currently on a high and ringed the Polo's neck for a time of, wait for it, 13 minutes and 45 seconds. That's around 120 kilometers an hour average on roads that hardly see anything faster than about 60.
Down is left 2, 200. Left 7, slippy.
I'm happy back here. I'd rather be here. I see it's a bit slippery in the front of the road, so find our feet today, see where we fit in.
Next up, the Pertec Toyota Auris of Hein Lategan and Johan van der Merwe. Lategan restored some sanity by recording a time of 13 minutes and 58 seconds. And although it was quite a bit slower than Keen's time, it was still good enough to tie Fecken and fourth on the stage.
Yeah, we lost the power steering halfway through the stage, so we were really going very well till then. But it's so difficult to drive the car without it because the steering is not precise and you're guessing, you know, so you just can't take the chance.
After a short gravel stage and 2 tar stages on the day before, Leroy Poulter was now right in the middle of his S2000 baptism of fire. A spin during the stage didn't help his cause either, and his time was only good enough for 13th on the stage. With championship rival Enzo Keane already heading back to service and with the fastest time, huge amounts of pressure was now resting on the shoulders of Johnny Gemmell and Drew Starrock. As expected, Gemmell had good pace, but his nemesis, a dreaded misfire under the bonnet of his Castrol Toyota Auris, reappeared. Everyone was convinced that Enzo Keane's time of 13 minutes and 45 seconds was unbeatable, That's everyone except Conrad Rautenbach and Peter Marsh. The Ford Fiesta driver was back on gravel and utilized his better road position to the full by crossing the flying finish in a time of 13 minutes and 37 seconds. A full 8 seconds faster than the already incredible time set by Keane, and that in spite of a problem inside the car.
Power steering went halfway through the stage. It's the fourth one we've changed this week. It's not good.
The first Swartland stage also provided the first battlefield for the string of privateers who are all fighting for a top 10 position. Mohamed Musa and Grant Martin set the 9th fastest time on the first stage of Saturday morning. But on the overall standings, the Total Evolution Runnex was still a few positions behind the steady RCF Johnsway Polo of Nicholas Ryan and Armand de Tooy, and the Sea-Track New Africa Developments Orders of Japie van Niekerk and Robin Houghton. Namibian Jaco van Dijk and Des de Fortier was now also knocking on the door of a top 10 placing, in spite of some wild driving that makes him popular with the fans.
Enzo Kuhn moves from an overnight 5th position to take over the lead, but a blistering stage time from Conrad Rautenbach rockets the Zimbabwean all the way up from 10th to 2nd overall, just 4.8 seconds from the lead. Habig moves up 1, ahead of Charles Wilken, who drops a few places as was expected. With his championship rival leading, Johnny Gemmell has it all to do and currently finds himself 32 seconds off the pace. Join us after the break for more Swartland Rally action as the teams further explore the limits of their state-of-the-art rally machines in their individual quests for rally grade. 2010 Swartland Rally, where championship hopeful Enzo Kuhn has just taken the lead, a position that will do his title aspirations no harm at all. But the biggest mover and shaker on this morning's opening dirt stage is Conrad Rautenbach, who demolished the competition to jump all the way to 2nd on the overall standings.
We're just going flat out, you know, we're not messing around anymore. We're just going to go flat out and see what we can do.
Johnny Gemmell started the day just a few seconds behind his title rival Kuhn, but an old nagging problem returned.
We were going quite nicely, it felt nice, and then we got a bit of a misfire, so the guys are sorting that out and we'll try and make some up after this.
The next battlefield is Longflay, and at 38 kilometers, it's also the signature stage of the event. It winds its way through acres of wheat farms with cattle grids and other dangerous obstacles never far away. Stage 5 is followed by Stage 6 and exact repeats of the same stage, so combined, this stage makes up nearly half of the entire rally's distance.
It is now make or break, 2 long successive stages that will almost certainly determine the final outcome. Unfortunately for overnight leaders Charles Wilken and Greg Godrich, Longflay is proving to be an unhappy hunting ground, as the Basil Reed Bizab Ford Fiesta is still the first car to sweep over the virgin rally roads. Wilken started this loop of stages in 4th position, but he was forced to surrender it and he dropped to 5th.
Right 5, right 8, do not cut, peg on in. To King, max right 1, left 3, straight line, it's straight line, there's long right 3, you know, the rough at the end, keep right into div.
JP Damso and Callan Swan are next. The Total Evolution Toyota Runnex started these 2 stages a full 14 seconds behind Wilken and managed to close the gap by 7 seconds on stage 5. Damso then took another 6 seconds from Wilken on stage 6. The fight for 5th place was on. The gap, just 1.2 seconds. From 3rd on the road, outgoing champions Hergen Ficken and Pierre Arries were now ready to put the hammer down. The BP Ultimate Polo was lying in 5th overall, but a time of just 19 minutes and 55 seconds on stage 6 propelled him straight into 2nd position. But the flying Ficken wasn't done yet. The roads were now familiar to all, and on stage 6, Ficken bettered his time from earlier by a full 23 seconds.
Left 6 through gate rough, opens to right 3, tightens to 4 through bump, right 5 through dip bump, left 2 rough through gate 50 down over rough, right 6 narrow.
Jan Habig and Douglas Judd were now also in full flight. A familiar pattern was developing as the BP Ultimate Volkswagens just got quicker and quicker. Habig's time on stage 5 was 7 seconds slower than Ficken's, but on stage 6, Habig improved on his own time by a massive 30 seconds to make 3rd place on the overall leaderboard his own.
And right 6 downhill, right 6, and turn right 8, turn right 8, do not cut.
So far, the Polos of Ficken and Habig were setting the pace at the front of the field, but Volkswagen still had one more card to play. Enter Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson. The competition must have wondered what had just hit them, as Kuhn demolished everyone on stage 5 with a time of 19 minutes and 40 seconds. a full 15 seconds quicker than the next best time set by Fecken. Keane went a full 20 seconds fast on the rerun, again destroying his teammates and the competition by another 12 seconds. The championship leader has just stamped his authority on both the Swartland Rally as well as the 2010 Sasol South African Rally Championship.
3 right, tightens to 8, stay right, dip, left 6, gate, 200, down, dip and left 3.
Yeah, good stage. Nice to have a good car.
The number 7 must be behind Lateghan's lucky number. The Pertic Toyota Auris driver started stage 5 in 7th position and set the 7th fastest time to maintain his 7th position. Another 7th fastest time on stage 6, and Lateghan and Van der Merwe are still in 7th. A consistent performance by the Pertic privateer. Leroy Poulter and Robert Paisley have said that all they want to do is finish the Swartland Rally. With the pace at the front of the pack as extreme as it currently is, it is so valuable to gain seat time. And as this was Poulter's first outing in the Castrol Toyota Auris, seat time is exactly what he needed. Poulter stayed true to his word and completed this loop of challenging stages at 8th position overall. With Enzo Keane already at the top of the leaderboard and setting the pace at the front of the field, it was up to Johnny Gemmell and Drew Starrock to dig deep in an effort to produce the speed that already saw him win 2 rallies this year. Gemmell already had problems on day 1, a misfire early on during day 2, and it was about to get even worse for the Castrol Toyota driver.
Gate, fast right and fast left plus.
The Auris picked up a puncture with 18 kilometers of stage 5 still to go. Nearly 3 minutes were lost, and with it, probably the championship too.
This happened about halfway through. We got a punch on the left back.
On the stage before, Conrad Rotenbach and Peter Marsh managed to upset the apple cart when they blitzed the field with a comfortable stage win. Much of the same was expected on stages 5 and 6, but the Ford Fiesta was still struggling with power steering issues, preventing the young Zimbabwean from pushing any harder. He dropped from 2nd on the overall standings down to 4th, just 12 seconds behind Habig's 3rd position. Stages 5 and 6 not only changed the look of the leaderboard at the top, but also claimed a number of victims further down the field. Japie van Niekerk and Robin Houghton were running well inside the top 10 until a suspension component failed, halting the progress of the new Africa Developments Toyota Auris. Mohamed Musa and Grant Martin also failed to reach the end of stage 5 when they went off the road and into a pole, damaging more suspension bits on the Total Evolution Runx. Whereas suspension proved to be the undoing of both Van Niekerk and Musa, it was the French-built Sadef gearboxes that caused both the Total Evolution Runx of Fernando Rueda and Kobus Vrey and the Pertic Toyota Auris of Visser Du Plessis and Gerard Snyman to retire from the Swartland Rally. It was a bitter pill to swallow for Rueda, who had just returned to rallying following a bout of pneumonia, as well as for Du Plessis, who was showing good form lately.
Enzo Keane takes a massive 37-second lead at the top of the leaderboard. Only 3 seconds separate teammates Hergen Fecken and Jan Habig in 2nd and 3rd respectively, while Rotenbach drops from 2nd to 4th. Charles Wilken is still hanging on to 5th, but with JP Damso in hot pursuit. Conrad Rotenbach is down in 4th, but still within reach of a podium position.
The car's much better now, it's going well. We're going well, we pushed quite hard the second time, don't think we could have gone much quicker, so now we just got to keep fighting. The next stage I think suits us better, we've got the short ratio, so hopefully we can make up some time there.
Hergen Fecken is currently 2nd, but has teammate Jan Habig breathing down his neck, and teammates or not, neither is willing to give an inch.
Jannie is 2 or 3 seconds behind me, so can't let him get in front. So there's still a dice going on.
Well, we'll see how it goes. You know, it's very easy to make a mistake and lose 10 or 20. So, you know, you just got to keep it right on the edge all the time.
Johnny Gemmell is seeing his championship aspirations slipping away.
It's getting harder, it seems. The first one we had that misfire, and then we had a punch on the next one in the long one, and I tried to drive, and we lost like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes there, so it wasn't good.
Whereas the situation looks hopeless for Gemmell, everything is falling into place for Enzo Keane, who doesn't need to win here, but still boasts with a massive lead.
The car's been running very well, and I think we've just had our focus on so hard and get out of the stage and really put together clean stages, and that's the result, you know.
Stage 7 is the last gravel stage in the Swartland before the teams will return to Cape Town. Longewens is a repeat of stage 4 from earlier in the day, but run in the opposite direction, so the roads will be somewhat familiar and the last real opportunity to make a move.
At this late stage of the event, a few scores still have to be settled. The fight for 5th place is between Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich and JP Damso and Callan Swan. The Basil Reed Bizzup Ford Fiesta has a 1.2 second advantage over the Total Evolution Run-X, and on stage 7, Wilkin extends his lead, but only by 1 single second. Conrad Rotenbach and Peter Marsh had plans to overtake Jan Habig and Douglas Judd for the final podium position. Habig had other plans. The BP Ultimate Polo set the second fastest time of all in stage 7 to not only open up the gap between itself and the Ford of Rotenbach, but to also overhaul teammates Hergen Fecken and Pierre Arries to move into second position. It is exactly what Fecken did not want, and to make matters even worse, he now had the Ford of Rotenbach also breathing down his tailpipes, just 10 seconds back, and with very few stage kilometers to go. While Habig and Fecken and Rotenbach were fighting for the remaining podium positions, Enzo Keen and Guy Hodgson continued their devastating form, taking their 3rd successive and 4th stage win of the event. Instead of consolidating his lead, Keen extended it to over 40 seconds with just 2 short stages to go. The Cape Townian was unstoppable, forcing the opposition to wonder where his incredible speed was coming from.
Long left 3. Long left 3.
The 2010 Swartland Rally is drawing to a close, and the Dirt Road Warriors are jockeying for their final positions. Mokopane-based businessmen Tien Schubert and Carl Peskin had a relatively conservative event according to their standards and completed a clean run to finish 12th overall behind the wheel of the Salom Group Polo. Wildman Jaco van Dijk and Des de Fortier brought their East 2000 Polo home in 11th overall after an eventful day that included a number of close calls, broken suspension and an overheating engine. Nicholas Ryan and Armand de Tooy were well inside the top 10 earlier, but a misfire every time the RCF Johnsway Polo saw water robbed them of valuable time and forced them to be content with 10th overall. Leroy Poulter's introduction to top flight S2000 rallying ended with a 9th placed finish. The Castrol Toyota driver listened to experienced navigator Robert Paisley and settled into a good rhythm to reach the end of his first ever event in the Premier class. Castrol Toyota teammates Johnny Gemmell and Drew Starrock had an event to forget. Bent steering arms, a misfire and a puncture all conspired against the once title hopeful. Gemmell won the penultimate stage, but it was too little too late and he was forced to settle for 8th. Hein Latergan and Johan van der Merwe's first visit to the Swartland Rally was an eventful one. The Pertec Aurus had power steering problems, broke a shock absorber and had a close shave in stage 7. So Latergan was relieved to grab the points that come with 7th place. The fight for 5th between Charles Wilkin and JP Damso was still raging on over the final few kilometers. Wilkin had a slender advantage going into the penultimate stage, but the Basil Reed Bizzup Ford Fiesta had alternator problems. To make matters even worse, the windscreen was smashed, leaving Wilkin almost blind for the final 2 stages. Damso is a tough competitor and put the hammer down to overall Wilkin on the last gravel stage by a full 14 seconds, and that to take over 5th position in the Total Evolution Run-X. The battle resumed on the tarmac of the Killarney Racing Circuit, and although Wilkin threw caution to the wind to win the final stage overall, it wasn't enough as Damso emerged victorious from this battle.
S2000 machines were occupying the top 12 spots at the end of the Swartland Rally, leaving the rest of the field the opportunity to battle for lucky number 13.
This position belonged to the Nathan Motors Mitsubishi Lancer of Mike Nathan and Etienne Lawrence, who survived the Swartland to record a strong finish and a Class N4 production car victory to go with it. Class A7 self-destructed on day 1, which opened up a gap for Class A6 veterans Craig Trott and Robbie Coetzee. The Total Evolution Toyota Run-X of Trott not only won Class A6, but also finished 14th overall and took the prize for the first front-wheel drive car home. Trot was initially challenged by Class A6 newcomers Ashley Hake-Smith and Hilton Orfrey, but the youngster and Team React Toyota driver went off the road early on during day 2, bringing an end to his Class A6 debut. The brand new Volkswagen Polo Vivo, driven by Port Elizabeth youngster Morna Janssen van Rensburg and Derek Jacobs, claimed a Class A5 victory on its debut event. The car looked impressive and fast for such a small-engined machine and will hopefully be successful in drawing more youngsters to the sport. Class N3 was dominated once again by the sister and brother combination of Megan and Oliver Verlaque. It was Megan's third class victory of the year and a great drive in which she outperformed Cape Town locals Abdul Rahman Amle and Yusuf Hanif and a similar runnings. Amle hit trouble on the last stage, handing second in class to the Link Africa Ford Fiesta of Robson Maganese and Sean Visser.
Only 2 relatively short stages remain in the 2010 Swartland Rally. The same stages that will answer a number of questions. Will Kuhn hang on to his massive lead? Will Fecken and Hobbig swap places, or will Rotenbach reach the podium? Stage 8 is a repeat of Stage 1 from the day before, while the final showdown will once again take place in front of a packed crowd on the black tar of the Killarney racing circuit.
The gap between Conrad Rotenbach and Peter Marsh in 4th and the final podium position currently occupied by Hergen Fecken was 11 seconds before the start of the penultimate stage. Rotenbach went flying into Stage 8, but the BP Ultimate Polo of Fecken and Aries already lost a position earlier and was not willing to give up another one. The Fiesta could not match Fecken's speed over the final few stages and had no option but to settle for 4th and the prize that goes for the first privateer. Besides fighting off Rotenbach, Fecken still had his sights set on the 2nd position that he lost earlier to teammates Jan Habig and Douglas Judd. But there was nothing he could do as the veteran hands of Habig fought off the attack by setting almost identical times over the final 2 stages. With 2nd and 3rd already in the bag, Volkswagen was staring a dream result right in the face, and it was about to get even better for the Utenay team. Enzo Keane and Guy Hodgson completed a masterful display of speed and driving skill with an emphatic victory of more than 40 seconds to make it a Volkswagen 1, 2 and 3.
A second consecutive victory and a dominant one for Enzo Kuhn that places him in command of the Sasol South African Rally Championship. Jan Habig takes 2nd from Hergen Fecken by a mere 6 seconds, while Conrad Rotenbach misses out on the podium. Damso takes 5th ahead of Wilken, while Lateghan leads the factory Toyotas of Gemmel and Poulter. Ryan rounds off the top 10. Hergen Fecken was hoping for a 2nd position rather than a 3rd, but the outgoing champion had no choice.
We tried hard, and the 1-2-3 for the team was great.
It's only the 2nd time in history that Volkswagen achieved a 1-2-3. This time with 6 times national champion Jan Habig right in the middle of it.
It was great. The cars went exceptionally well, no problems at all. Good rally. Douglas is on the notes all the time, so we're pretty chuffed with the result.
But the Swartland glory all goes to Enzo Kuhn, who dominated proceedings and now moves to within 4 points of clinching his 2nd national title.
Yeah, it's great to win, but it's even better to win with a margin like that. We had a good event. It was, I think we stamped our authority on it, and we had a very strong day in the car and absolutely nothing.